Player coming at you with my first chaotic video. Real video for anyone who doesn't fully understand the rules of chaotic. So these are a bunch of my cards. Fire, Water, Wisdom. So again, Outperform, Power 5, and Initiative Fire. So you're probably gonna go first. The Love Ninja, he's amazing. I'm gonna call this my Desert Raiders deck. Ultra Rare Headmaster and Kaija. Ooh, these brand once again. Probably my favorite pull today. Elemental. This is up YouTube. Speed Player 8 here, coming at you with another match on Trade Cards Online. What is up YouTube? Speed Player 8 here, and what I have is 288 packs of Secrets of Velocity Alliances Unraveled. What is up YouTube? Speed Player 8 here, coming at you with another live deck review. So, I know I haven't done a video in a little while, guys. Haven't had the time, but now I do. So this is an all Marillion deck, and it is based around Ritsudag here. So if you didn't watch my Beyond the Doors booster box opening, I'll link to that. You should see an annotation popping up. But regardless, I got him, and for those of you who don't know what Ritsudag does, so just like it says there, at the beginning of combat, your engaged creature gains 50 to its lowest discipline, and then if two more are tied, you choose one. So yeah, then if you look at his stats, so that means that his low stat is 40, so then his stats would become 60, 50, 60, 90. And that is pretty cool. And so, making an entire deck around him is really easy. And on the old site, on chaoticgame.com, I faced this deck many a time in Advanced Apprentice, and I lost every time. It's really tough. I've always wanted to make it, and now I have. So, the way it works is you have Ritsudag, and then you have the 4 challenge chieftains here, Erektab, Galdrad, Nithwar, and Jasheven, and then Zistor for energy, and then that's it, and then they all just fight using their stats. So let's get into it. So Ritsudag has the Levitar, and that's to bring his speed up. So his speed will be 100, and because of that, his speed will be 90. Because of that, then his lowest stat will be power, and so then his ability will apply to his power. So then his stats will be 60, 100, 60, 90, and 50 energy. And that's pretty good. And that's basically how this entire deck works. So if we look at Erektab here, he has the Supercharged Alternate, so that's where you're going to gain 100 in his stats. So you use this on his speed, so then his speed becomes 125, then his lowest stat becomes his Courage, so then that gets an additional 50, so that becomes 80, so then his stats become 80, 55, 95, 125. This Stork is just here for energy. I gave him a Biomower Cycle. He's going to gain the 50 in his power, so his stats will be 70, 95, 80, 55. Galdrad also has my other Levitar, so then his speed is going to become 100, which means he's going to get the 50 in his Wisdom, so he'll become 65, 95, 90, 100. Nithwar, I've given Zerium Armor because he is a pretty tough fighter, and lots of this gear can be exchanged between them, so if you just look at his stats here, he's going to gain the 50 in his Wisdom, so he'll be 95, 50, 90, 65, and then with Zerium. And then Jasheven, he has, I think, the best stats, because look at that, 100 in both Wisdom and Speed. He has a Supercharged Alternate. You put that on his power, and then at the end, his stats are going to be 85 Courage, 130 Power, 100 Wisdom and Speed, and that is pretty cool. So that's basically how that works. This is just the way I've decided to do it. You can pretty much exchange the Levitars and Supercharged between anyone. I'd keep the Zerium on one of these front 3, but, other than that, you can pretty much do what you want with this deck. So let's go into the music. So, there are no music counters scanned on your creatures, and I'll explain with the location deck in a second, but basically I just threw in a bunch of generic one-cost musics. So Song of Future Sight, that can be useful. 2 Cadence Clash, Negation. Strain of Clarity you can actually cast if you need be, because this is a 0-cost music, so if there's an annoying Mirage you want to get rid of that. And 2 Intimidating Melody of Mar. Enter engaged creature loses 3 to all disciplines. So the basic idea here is if you get music counters, because lots of decks have Balladeer's Flutes or Chime Grids or even Heptagon Hail, you just get the 1 counter and then you can cast your musics, and that'll be helpful, but if you don't get them, that's fine. Now let's look at the location deck. So, we've got Dead Range Gong. Never really used this location before, but I think it's really cool. So Chieftains gain 15 to all disciplines. That is extremely useful. That's pretty much why it's in here. And Water 5. So Water 5 isn't that big a deal. I have 2 Start with the camera. 2, Eye of the Maelstrom. This is because, again, you have no Mewtwo counter, so this is just going to get rid of your opponent's Mewtwo and reduce the damage to you, initiative power, so that's why that's there. Foothold Assault Trench, you're probably going to get that initiative and just an additional damage on all attacks. Now, this location I really love, and most Marillion players all love. So, Mount Pillar Reservoir and Nethor's Foothold. Nethor right there. So, when this becomes the active location, each player may return a Chieftain from their discard pile to play to an unoccupied space on their side of the board with no Mewtwo counters. So, when this comes up, you get to revive a Chieftain. Your entire deck is Chieftain, so if you have lost any creature, you instantly get to bring them back, and then they will have Water 5. So that's really good, so 2 of these. And because of that, I'm running 2 Bodil's Arsenal. So let's say your Chieftain dies, their gear dies with them, you revive them, and then you could, in later turns, bring back their battle gear. This can also be used with the Abimo cycle. Sacrifice to bring it back, just if your gear gets destroyed, so I think that's a pretty good combo there. Also Initiative Wisdom. And then also, because we're running all stats, 2 Brawler's Burrow, get outperform all disciplines, and then your attack and attack discard pile. Shuffle. Alright, now let's look at our attack deck. So, I'm running 2 Rage of Oni, just because it's 20 damage if you have your elements, also because of the Mount Pillar Reservoir Tainted and Dead Range Gong give you Water 5, so potentially 25 damage. And also remember, with all these attacks, you could potentially have an additional 40 if you win all the challenges. You know, at the very least, you're probably most likely going to get at least plus 10. So that the reason this deck can be super effective is just because you're dealing massive damage on every single one of your attacks, no matter what. And then plus with this Stork, you have extra energy. Zerium, you're going to last longer. Levitar deals damage, etc., etc. I threw in a Meditative Leap just because your creatures have high speed, so you can get to draw and drop an attack card, and then base damage. And then we got all these attacks, so 2 Dry Liquid, 2 Daunting Bravery. Also got Directed Bravery for some damage. I threw in a Mega Roar just because it's a massive stat attack. If you have Discipline Destruction, I would recommend using that instead of this, but I don't have it, so this is in here. Got 2 Quick Exit just because Wisdom is going to be high. 2 Velocitrap, you could use some of the other challenge attacks as well. And then back to these ones, 2 Poison Sphere for speed, 2 Piercing Brilliance for wisdom. Gear Grind is in here because of your Supercharged Alterants, so once you use them, you have to flip them back down in order to use them again, and then could potentially get rid of Bronze Flights or Shards or something. And then Primal Smash just for your lovely, consistent 20 damage. So that is the deck, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Once again, remember, all these attacks could potentially be dealing much more damage, which makes this a very deadly deck. The only way you're going to... So the major disadvantages of this deck are, if they have Phobia Plates, that's going to be a problem. If they have the Decomposition Music, that is also going to be a problem. Any sort of stat lowering by them will also be a problem. If your opponent has 1 or more Tartarex size, you're kind of screwed because they can eliminate, let's see. So let's just look at a Raktab here. 1 shot from, and you don't have Visor Mind Probes. So 1 Mewtwo counter, discard a Mewtwo, a Raktab's gone. Same with Zistork, 1 Mewtwo counter, discard a Mewtwo, Raktab's gone. Just even, they don't even have to discard a Mewtwo counter since his Wisdom is already 100, so just to discard a Mewtwo, and that's gone. So yeah, you better hope that doesn't happen, otherwise this deck's kind of done. But otherwise, I assume this deck could be pretty tough to take down. I haven't exactly tested it out yet. I'll let you know if I do, but that is my time, guys. I hope you enjoyed. This deck is called Path of Leadership. It's on Trade Cards Online if you want to vote on it there. I will link to that in the description below, so you can go check that out, and feel free to use it if you want to Trade Cards Online. It doesn't really matter to me. But yeah, so if you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up. Again, leave your comments below. I always love to hear from you guys. I'm SpeedPlayerA. I will see you in my next video. Peace out, guys.